Hi, I'm Mel.
And I'm Janelle.
And this is the Murder Mamas.
Murder Mamas.
Welcome.
It's definitely going to hear me stretching on.
That was awesome.
That's funny. Oh, wait. I almost said Happy Thursday. I haven't said that in
I know.
so
I was thinking
long.
about that the other day, and I was like, yeah.
I finally broke the habit, and now I was reverting back. I must be feeling nervous.
I thought you were going to say Happy New Year. I was like,
New Year.
Okay, well, it's a little early.
September, but okay, sounds good. Alright. You want to jump into it?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we are straying from pure murder.
Mm-hmm.
We're going a little culty today.
Okay.
Taking a trip to cult land.
Yeah.
We are going to talk about Colonia Dignidad.
Okay.
Are you familiar?
I'm not.
Besides what I've
no.
briefly told you?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I wasn't either. Apparently there's a movie about this.
No.
There's a Netflix series that I watched most of. But there's a movie with Emma Watson.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
About,
Really?
Yeah. I didn't watch it.
Okay.
So can't say if it's good or not.
Right.
But YouTube tried to get me to pay for it, and I was like, nah. That's going to be a nah for me. I just spent 6 hours watching it on YouTube. On Netflix. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently there's a movie about it.
Okay.
We're going to rabbit hole on a few different things while talking about this, and it's just what's going to happen.
Mm.
So accept it, and I'm going to get started.
I accept it.
Okay. So what Colonia Dignidad is, it's a colony of Germans in Chile, a remote area of Chile, post-World War II.
Okay.
Some people, I couldn't find it substantiated, but they talk about like ties to Nazis.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I couldn't find that this particular Colonia Dignidad had those ties, but like maybe.
It would make sense if they did. I mean, if they're German, yeah, it makes sense.
Like, I know that the person who established it was in the war, but like there weren't like high level SS like leaders that were there, to the best of my knowledge. Okay. But that's like a thing. So I'm not going to really touch on that anymore because there wasn't like a lot of hard sources on that. So just something that's been mentioned.
I'll stick it in my noggin.
This thing, colony, I guess, like...
Yeah. I will never understand a cult or colony. I just don't.
It didn't start in Chile, though. It started in Germany.
Oh, okay.
So the person who like founded it, his name is Paul Schäfer.
Okay.
And
is he German? He doesn't sound German. Paul Schäfer? Is Schäfer German?
There's an umlaut above the A.
Oh,
so my inclination is yes.
That's probably, just seems like a normal Paul Schäfer. Like,
just given the umlauts up there. I took German in college, as I was watching a bunch of stuff, like...
You're like, oh.
Well, and I took a bunch of Spanish, so I'm, like, pretty, like, almost fluent in Spanish. Yeah. And, like, I don't remember a ton of German, but, like, enough to pick up on what they're saying. Yeah. So as I was watching, like, documentaries and everything, they're speaking in these two different languages. I'm like, I almost understand, but this is getting more confusing the more I listen to this. Yep. It's a lot of reading subtitles. So he was a very religious person. Okay. He was following the teachings of someone named William Branham, which was like an American preacher. Okay. Who was like almost a doomsday preacher. Like kind of like a doomsday culty type guy. But he would like I mean, like, Paul followed him so much that he was part of, like, his security team when he had, like, a European tour post-World War II.
Okay.
To, like, rejoice or, like, spread, like, unity through Europe.
Yeah.
I have a hard time understanding.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Yeah.
But Paul was like a really fucked up dude. So he was a stretcher bearer in the war. So he wasn't like a doctor or anything, but he would like carry people out of like the fields.
Okay, I thought you meant he stretched people for like torture. I was like, wow.
No.
That's where my brain went.
No.
Okay.
So he would like carry people on stretchers, basically. Like transported people on stretchers. That's basically what he did.
Okay.
After the war, he started like preaching, and he would go around and he would preach at like anywhere really.
Yeah.
He would go to like free churches. I didn't really understand what that meant, but like a lot of them were Baptist, and so he would preach there, and he would get these people to follow him from those congregations. So he's building like his own little congregation, and at that time it's about like helping people, and it's not on face value. It's very pure. Okay.
It's not culty like and all yet.
Not quite yet.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Okay.
So he is working at like a religious like day camp thing, kind of as like a counselor basically for like children.
Okay.
And he's working there, and then there's like allegations of him being not great. Like sexually assaulting some boys. And he gets like immediately fired. And so during the documentary I was watching, they speak to someone who like worked with him there, and they say, and they're like, Paul was always happy. Like he always showed up for work. He was like a great employee. And then there was like these little rumblings about like boys going to his camp at night. And the director like immediately like showed up and was like, Paul's fired.
Yeah.
And she was like, how? Like he's never done anything wrong.
Yeah.
So they like took pretty swift action in getting rid of him.
I mean, I understand that. It sucks if you didn't do that, but I get it. You're talking about children. I probably would have done the same thing. Like, and goodbye.
I feel like it's one of those things where you like fire immediately and investigate later.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Oh, yeah. Because if he is, you can't have him walking around.
Absolutely. Like, or suspend or whatever.
Yeah.
But they fired him.
Okay. Yeah.
So then he gets more religious. Like he's still preaching. He's doing all these things. There's like Berlin is like separated at that time. There's like West Berlin and East Berlin. So he's on West Berlin side.
Okay.
And he's at like one point preaching at like this area right in like the middle where he's like getting these followers from the other side.
Both sides?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not that really like matters so much, but it was just an interesting
that is.
thing. And then he's like, I'm going to start an orphanage basically. So he pools them all together. He buys this like plot of land in Heide, Germany, and they start building like this orphanage essentially. And his whole goal is like he's going to take in street kids who have been abandoned, who were orphaned, and take care of them. Which again, like if someone came to you and was like, I want to help disadvantaged youth, you'd be like, that's great.
Yeah.
But it's Paul Schäfer.
Right.
So, like, that's not what Paul Schäfer means. But he has these people who believe in him. And it's not a ton. It's like sub 100 people.
Yeah, that's still a lot.
I do feel like that's kind of
still a lot.
But it's still, like, quite a bit.
Yeah.
So they start working together and, like, they're building this this little like hectare into this orphanage, and they're building the structure from the ground up. And this is when it gets culty, because now he's like taking everyone's money. Yeah. So like some of these people are working outside, and he's taking everything because he's realizing like, if we pool all of our resources, we can do this so much faster.
Right.
So that's what they do. They finish it. And then like he sort of preys what feels like he preys on people. Like one of the boys that was in this like home, he was in a family of 8 children, and it's post-war Germany, and like there's not a lot of food. So he would be like, I will take one and they can live here. You can visit them all the time. Like it's fine. And so this is going on for, I don't know, this is like during the 50s-ish. Yeah. Like mid to late 50s. And then he does the same thing again. Right. There's allegations of sexual assault. I think nothing's ever been tried, but I'm pretty sure they're accurate.
Ugh, that sucks.
Because this is why he moves all those people to Chile. Yeah. He's escaping. He needs to get out,
yeah. What a fucking asshole.
So this is where Colonia Dignidad sort of starts.
Okay.
Is at this point. And it's 1961. And he first like reaches out to the government of Chile, and he's like, hey, like, I'm coming over here and I'm gonna do this thing, and like, you should make it so I don't get taxed.
Okay.
And they're like, all right, like, at that point they had like an authoritative, like what's it called? I'm trying to think of the word. Dictatorship? Kind of.
Okay.
Which we'll get into. And again, like this rabbit hole's in so many different directions. But he takes, I want to say it's about 70 followers.
Oh, shit.
Ish.
All the way to Chile?
Who decide to go to Chile with him. And some of them are families. They have children. Yeah. And they get to this like rural, they take a boat from Germany.
Shit.
Yeah. To Chile.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but I was like, that seems awful.
Yeah.
That seems horrific.
Yeah, no, it's not something I would like to do.
I'm like, why would you take an airplane? But like, it was 1960.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. It's not gonna happen.
I don't think that was like a thing then, was it?
I think flying was, but that was for like
very wealthy
people.
Yeah. They go and they get to the colony, and like this is a very, like I said, a very rural, poor area of Chile.
Okay.
So there's not a ton of like resources for the locals there. And this is where they get so much support years down the road.
Okay.
So one of the people in the documentary is talking about how they don't give, but like Paul Schäfer buys all this land, and they're like, they're not going to be able to grow anything on this land because it's like mostly rocks.
Right.
Well, they took German engineering and just like fucking succeeded.
Wow. Really?
Yes. Oh. They became like hugely agricultural on this land. It's like an entire village.
Oh.
Like a Bavarian village.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where like they churned butter and all kind.
Not where I thought this story was going.
Yeah. Like, so it seems on the surface again,
right.
Like
it seems legit.
Seems so wonderful, for lack of a better word. There's like a school, a hospital with, I want to say like 60 beds and an operating room.
Oh, that they like built while they were there?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And like doctors. Some people who came were doctors.
Yeah.
There's airstrips. They have a plane, an ambulance.
Where are they getting all this money?
Restaurants.
How do you have what?
Like a hydroelectric like power station.
Okay.
Yeah. They also like take because there was a lot of like rocks in the ground.
Yeah.
They take that and they turn it into gravel and they're selling it to like build roads throughout Chile.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they like become very self-sufficient.
Yeah. That sounds all good.
Except for like the entire place is covered in barbed wire. So the people who come in can't really leave.
Yeah.
And this is where we start to see like the bad side of it. Mm-hmm. So I told you all the good shit. Yeah. It's still open. Like you can go there today. Oh. People do. It's like a travel destination in Chile. And it's not called Colonia Dignidad anymore. It's called Villa Bavaria. Okay. And it's actually like a really cute little Bavarian village. One of the people whose dad followed Paul Schäfer, she now runs like the tourism for this place. Wow. Yeah. And a Chilean person who was talking was saying that like all of the Germans, like children, they're the ones who are keeping it alive. Yeah. Wow. That's cool. I mean, sort of. Like it is a part of history. We're gonna get real dark. Okay. Soon. Like lots of murder. Oh. Torture. Ew. Sexual assault. Okay. Kidnapping. Wow. So it's not great. It doesn't have a great history. Yeah. But I also think like not everyone that was there is like bad. Right. You know? Yeah. One person that they were talking to, who was there when it started, they were like, I never really considered leaving because I would have wanted to leave with my wife. And she wouldn't leave. She would just say, if we leave, we're getting further away from God. Oh. They were very, very religious. Okay. The compound, again, it's like surrounded by barbed wire fences. There's searchlights. There's guard towers. Yeah. Like, you're not really able to leave. Yeah. And then there's like these strict groups that are placed within the within the colony. Okay. So like families get separated. Oh. Like babies taken from parents. Why? Because that's the way. Yeah. Ugh. There's like men and women cannot cohabitate together. So like these people came from Germany to follow this guy, and they can't even live as a family. Yeah, that's messed up. Yeah. Paul Schäfer would dictate when someone could get married, when someone should have a baby, like, and then they would have that baby, and the baby is taken from them. Oh, no. And put with all of the other babies and children in like they had like what they called aunts and uncles. Oh God. No. Mm-hmm. Mm. And those are just the people that like came with him. Right. So at one point the following there gets to be about like 300 people. Shit. Okay. But everyone starts aging, and because everyone has to love Paul Schäfer the most, there's not enough babies coming in to keep it up. So he starts kind of like preying on the locals. Yeah. I'm not ready to get fully into that yet. Yeah. It's just like, it's so crazy to me how if someone was like, hey, move all the way, but they have no resources. Right. They can't leave. They don't have passports to get home. Ugh. They don't have anything. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And it's like the long con, you know, like we always talk about that feeling when the minute something goes wrong and you're like, fuck, I shouldn't have done that.
Yep. And they're in a different country. Like, yeah, you're fucked.
And you believe this so strongly. Yeah. Like, this is tied to who you are and, like, your core beliefs as a person. Like,
that's horrible.
It's so fucked. Yeah. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So this is just what he's doing. Like, this is the shitty stuff he's doing at face value.
Yeah.
There's so much more that's happening with, like, what's called the what the fuck are they called? The DINA, I think. It's DINA. Hold on. But I want to make sure. Oh, also, you know what I think is totally weird? He lived there for, like, the majority of his adult life in Chile. And he spoke zero Spanish. Because they spoke only German in the colony.
Oh.
I'm like, you don't even try?
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like, not even a little bit?
Yeah.
Not even like, hola.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like, nothing?
Wow.
Nothing at all?
He is a piece of shit.
Okay. So, I feel like I'm really skipping over a lot of stuff, but, like, the people who lived there, they couldn't really interact with the outside world. So, like, they're not leaving. No one's really coming in.
Yeah.
The only interactions are the people who are, like, working in the school or the hospital.
Okay.
They would also make meals for the locals, and they said at one point they were serving, like, 600 meals a week or something to, like, local families.
Yeah.
It's very much, like, it's a way to get someone to, like, trust you, basically.
Yeah.
The parents couldn't even talk to their children. The kids couldn't talk to their parents. I can't imagine. That's the one thing I can't imagine.
Yeah.
There was a person in the documentary who was a child at the time, and she said that she got beat so hard for talking to her mom, and she didn't even start the conversation with her mom. So many welts that she could not sit down. Yeah.
That's horrible.
So, like, there's that. There's the control. I heard a really fucked up story in a YouTube video I watched about this guy where it was, like, Christmas time, and he came out from behind. Like, all the kids were excited about, like, Santa. Someone dressed up as Santa had come. And Paul Schäfer came and, like, killed Santa in front of the kids.
What the fuck?
Yeah. To, like, no one's bigger than me. But I didn't see that substantiated anywhere else, but it was from Yahoo. So I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know how true that was, but if true, you're real fucked up.
Wow. What
so,
a piece of shit.
This is kind of like, I can go on for a really long time about the fucked up shit he did to people.
Yeah.
But, like, I really want to talk about what he did to the outside people. So, like, this is just what he did to, like, the followers.
Okay.
So, the surrounding areas, he started kidnapping children.
Oh, God.
There was a story I heard from one of the boys who was kidnapped where their parents had, like, given him something for, like, he had diarrhea. So they gave him, like, charcoal, and then he, like, choked on the charcoal. So then he, like, aspirated and got sick.
Yeah.
So they took him to the hospital because they called the ambulance, and this is the ambulance that showed up.
Yeah.
Like, the plane they had would rescue people who were sick.
He had his grip, like, from the beginning.
And they provided all of this care for free.
Yeah. Isn't that sweet?
So sweet.
Yeah.
So this particular boy, his name was Edwin. He was very little, and they bring him to the hospital, and then his sister came, like, days later and was like, hey, I'm here to pick up my brother, he should be better. And they're like, no, you can't have him. Yeah. Or, like, he's not better. And she's like, well, like, can I at least see him?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
And they're like, no.
Wow.
And he just never got to go home.
Wow.
And they threatened, if you do whatever, like, if you make a scene about this, then you can no longer get any hospital services.
Wow.
So it was, like, very calculated, which feels so fucked.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, I feel like if you think of, like, Jonestown was awful, right?
Yeah.
But, like, I don't think he was out, like, recruiting and kidnapping and like manipulating the locals into joining him. Yeah. You know, like with these resources they so desperately need and offering them for free. Like it's so manipulative. It's so calculated. It's so fucked. And you're just like, why? Yeah. I mean, I know why. Right. But like, for what? I don't know. Yeah. So that happens like a lot. There's no actual like figure on how many people were like kidnapped and
that's so sad.
Exploited. I know one boy had like written his mom a letter and was like, please come get me. He raped me, and he actually gets out. But there's like days worth of stories about this. Right. So we're gonna get to the torture and the murder now. Okay. All of that mostly surrounds itself with his involvement with the like president at the time, and the president's name.
Chile?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's like a dictator. I'm calling him a president. Okay. But, yeah. I want to talk about the age and the different like classes that he had. Okay. So they were called the babies, and they were raised by nurses. It was all the children. Okay. Well, the babies. Okay. And then the next stage was the wedges, and that was up to 15 years old. And then there was the Army of Salvation, the elder servants. This is how the entire like colony was segregated for these different age groups and gender. Wow. The genders couldn't live together.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like very, very strict. Wow. So then there was the Comolos, and that was by age 50. So like 50 to death. Yeah. Was that last little group. Okay. And it was like they would have different jobs and roles, and like each sect would have those. Yeah. But
wow. Okay.
Yeah, and they all lived in groups of 6.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that. That's not my thing. No. There's no way.
Well, and they would all do like slave labor.
Yeah, no.
So they're working 12 plus hours a day to make this place run and to make them profitable. They get no money, and they were just doing it for the sake of, you know,
staying
God
alive
and Colonia Dignidad. No. Some people do escape. There's like 2 people, I think, off the top of my head. I can't remember their names. One is like a 17-year-old boy, and he escapes at night. He steals a horse from the stable and is afraid that the hooves are going to make too much noise. So he wraps the hooves in rags in order to get away. And they searched with a plane and spotlights forever, but he ends up making it like back to Germany. Wow. Wow. Yeah. He was actually like talking on the documentary. Yeah. And he tried to like recruit other people to leave, and they were like, "You're crazy. We can't leave. We have no money. We have no food. There's no shelter." Like,
right. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
And he was like,
"Don't care.
Fuck y'all. I'm out." Yeah. And he just
good for him.
He left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that.
No.
Living like that. No, there's no way.
Well, it's also like kind of I mean, you have like all your basic needs met, you know? I don't know. Yeah. The dictator, I'm not going to call him a president this time. Yeah. He was a military dictator. I don't know what the difference between a dictator and a military dictator is. His name is Augusto Pinochet.
Okay.
Pinochet. Sure. Pinochet.
Sure.
It's like I heard his name 1,000 times, but then I got nervous and I wasn't sure how to say it.
I get that.
So he is the dictator from 1973 to 1990.
Okay. Well.
He collaborated, for lack of a better word, with Paul Schäfer and Colonia Dignidad to have, like, that be his little torture center for all of the political dissidents who went against him.
So this colony of families is going to now be a torture chamber for this dude.
Correct, yeah. Okay. There's, like, tunnels underground. There's all kinds of stuff. There was the DINA, which is, like, the Chilean secret police. Who would capture, arrest people, like, in the thousands.
Jesus.
Who just disappear.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah. So they would hold them at Colonia Dignidad and torture them. But, like, I couldn't find any substantial evidence or, like, facts that the Germans there, aside from Paul Schäfer and, like, some of those other first, like, leaders, had any involvement with the atrocities that happened.
Okay.
So just, like, the regular normal people who are also being exploited.
Right.
Like, they weren't going and, like, torturing the Chileans.
Right. What was the purpose of that?
To continue to keep their power.
Oh.
The Chilean, the guy. Okay. Yeah, Augusto Pinochet.
Okay. So for them to stay there.
No, not for Colonia Dignidad to stay there, but, like, Paul Schäfer's a bad dude. Yeah. So, like, yeah, your secret police can have some of my land. Yeah. I have tons of land. Oh they can take some of my land and they can, like, torture people. Yeah. I don't really care. I don't give a shit about people. Yeah. You know? Like, thousands.
That's insane.
Of people went missing. Thousands. So, the involvement with this, like, secret police and the military dictator, that first comes to light in, like, 1976. But nothing happens for so long.
Okay.
So, like, 100 people, just like citizens of Chile, are taken to Colonia Dignidad. They're tortured in the tunnels underneath it. They're, like, interrogated. Just, like, really, really horrible, like, human rights violations left and right. They kill at least 100 of them are murdered. Jesus. 1,100 people disappeared.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. In Chile during these years. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Some people, like, again, some of them were taken to Colonia Dignidad and some, who knows. So there's one, though, in particular. His name is Boris, and he was from the Soviet Union, but he was a math professor at Penn State in the U.S. Yeah. And he was hiking in the Andes near Colonia Dignidad when he went missing. So he had, like, no real involvement. Right. But it's what it's, like, one of the, like, disappearances that he gets held accountable for. Paul Schäfer does.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh. They had, like, a ton of weapons, too. Like,
how are they getting all this? Like, where is this money coming from? They, like, demand money once they get in? Or, like, everybody's savings? Or what?
I don't know. Well, I mean, they're selling, like, agriculture and, like, all of those, like, services.
Okay. So there is a money flow coming in.
Yes. Okay. But, like, I mean, they had military style, like, weapons. Like,
wow. Okay.
From...
That's frightening.
What I think is the government.
Probably.
Pinochet.
Yeah.
Gave them.
I'm sure.
Like, we're talking machine guns?
No.
Rifles? Rocket launchers?
Shit.
Ammunition?
Nope.
It's said, actually, that their stash of weapons that's found in 2005.
Oh, shit.
2005.
Okay.
Is the biggest arsenal ever found outside of the military.
Wow.
In Chile.
Wow.
Grenades? Why do you need a rocket launcher?
No, you don't.
Who needs a rocket launcher?
You don't need one. There's no reason.
Oh, man. Okay. So, Okay, so there was a report done in 1991 that's called the Rettig Report. I could be saying that wrong. And it's done by the National Commission for Truth and Reconciliation Report. So Augusto gets shit canned, and he's no longer dictator, and a new president comes in. That's why I said the word president. His name is Patricio Aylwin, and he starts this he orders this investigation of the human rights violations that happened from Augusto. This is where they find the connection between the land at Colonia Dignidad and Augusto Pinochet. They found that over 2,000 people had been killed for political reasons. Dozens of military personnel have been convicted of human rights abuses, and they made a recommendation for all of the abuses or for how to move forward, basically. So this isn't just at Colonia Dignidad, but this is just in total the amount of people who were missing, violations, and murdered over this time span. It's a ton. 2,000 violations, 164 victims of political violence between that time period, 1,068 victims confirmed to have been killed, 957 people who disappeared after their arrest, an additional 90 killed politically motivated private citizens. So a ton of murders happening in Chile at this time. No. Because the Augusto wants to stay in power. And so he's a dictator. So they find a bunch of these mass graves at Colonia Dignidad. But before he gets overthrown, Augusto does, they unbury those people and burn the skeleton to cover up the evidence of the mass graves from there. Oh shit. I mean that's
are you born with that hate in your heart, or does that just accumulate over time? How do you get to that point where you're just so evil?
I think you just keep getting away with it, and the more you get away with it, the worse you get. Almost so bad. If you give a mouse a cookie, sort of
I guess.
If you keep getting and getting and getting, you'll keep taking and taking and taking.
Sure.
I'm going to go back to Paul Schäfer. He let a bunch of horrible shit happen. He partnered up with this Augusto guy, let a bunch of terrible shit happen to a bunch of people. But I'm not shocked because he was also pretty shitty.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
But they, in 2004, a Chilean court convicted him and 26 other cult members of child abuse.
Nice.
Child abuse. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison.
Okay.
A bunch of different leaders there have also been convicted of crimes. But he leaves the colony.
Okay.
To escape again his conviction.
Wow. To go to a different country. He fled. Yeah. And he escapes arrest. In 96 he leaves and gives it up. He's I'm out of here. And he doesn't get arrested until 2005. Holy shit. So he's on the run for 9 years. Wow. The year he dies in prison of a heart ailment in 2010 at the age of 88. Oh, okay. And during that time, he's still under investigation for the disappearance of that Boris I mentioned earlier. So that's pretty much it. Wow. That's insane.
There is this is a high level overview. There's so many details, so many people who talk, and the things they really talk about are astounding. Yeah. Highly recommend the Netflix series on this. Okay. Let me remember the name of it real quick. Hang on. A Sinister Sect, Colonia Dignidad. Okay. It has a ton of information on this. But I really just think he thought he was untouchable. Yeah. And that's it. Wow.
One of the people, sorry, I just remembered, one of the people before they even left Germany was like, went to him and was like, you seem like Hitler.
Yeah.
Like you seem like Adolf Hitler.
Yeah.
And he was like, if that's how you feel, that's how everyone feels. It was like a very strange interaction she described.
That's weird. Yeah, he's creepy.
More than creepy. But yeah, that's Colonia Dignidad.
Nice. I have never heard of them.
Well, now you have.
Now I have. All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. You can find us on Instagram at
The Murder Mamas,
Facebook,
The M Mamas,
Twitter,
The Murder Mamas,
email,
themurdermamas@gmail.com.
And if you like us and are happy with our content, please leave us a review and a 5-star rating. We would appreciate it. Bye. Bye.